Hi, welcome to today's transmission from hiding to being me. And today we are talking about the mind, revealing the mind, the third series of the acronym SURE. So we've done introduction from hiding to being me on Monday. Then on Tuesday we covered S, stripping the body. On Wednesday we did, which was yesterday, U, uncovering the emotions. Today we are speaking about revealing the mind, and tomorrow emerging the I, or the self. First of all, thank you so much for being here. For all of you that are watching, I'm very grateful to be able to share my experience with you, and whatever helped me to become more of myself, to emerge from hiding. And what's coming strongly for me, and I believe I'm going to share more about this tomorrow, is that when we are born, there is just innocence, there is purity of our being, there is unconditional love. There's no manipulation or deserving, or if you don't cry, mom doesn't say, right? If you don't cry, I will not, I will give you milk. Otherwise, you're not gonna get milk. Like we get food whenever we want, whenever we're hungry. We get warmth, right? Cover whenever we cold, and it's like we are looked after in most cases, right? But this is I'm speaking about generalized conditions, and it's the same in animal kingdom. When babies are born, they are just unconditionally loved and looked after. And then we start to learn behavior of different people. We start to feel like maybe there is something wrong with who we are. And we start to build masks or different personalities that are not in alignment with who we really are. And it feels like we don't give ourselves the right to be ourselves. So we think that other people don't give us this right or the permission. Therefore, we try to please other people. We try to suit into their lives and their idea of good girl or good boy, for them to love us, for them to accept us, for us to feel good, feel valued, feel worthy, feel enough, which it won't be possible until we come back to our truth and be ourselves, because we cannot be enough of something we are not. We cannot be enough in false being, not in truth. Only truth is like it's infinite, it's beyond enoughness. And that's where this hiding process, if you feel like you are hiding, is necessary for you to realize it, turn it into gold, and emerge and be yourself. And I have no idea where this came from, but here we are. We are going to, before I continue, to do the grounding breath. If you are new to this video, I would invite you to watch the rest, but this video on its own is valuable and it stands on its own if you only feel drawn to this. Just listen to yourself, listen to your intuition. How I like to start is by breaths and by you grounding yourself. And I would really invite you, if you're here, to anchor the process of emerging from hiding for you, to write in a comment, I am here. Write down so I know we can connect. You can be seen by other people who perhaps are watching and they are shy to comment. They are in their own process, and wherever we are is absolutely perfect. But this is an activation and an invitation for you to really be seen. And I am here. It's not expressing your biased opinion or controversial topic, right? We're not speaking about that. You are just highlighting your presence. I am here. And sometimes it's so difficult for us to do. We prefer to hide behind the camera, behind the computer, behind the laptop, and we watch other people's content. But until we start to anchor our presence in some way, whatever we are receiving is not really reaching us, because who is here? If we don't even acknowledge that we are here, who is receiving? If we are hiding, then we are not receiving. We are hiding, and the receiving, the transmission goes to hiding as well. Like, the world is a mirror, is a reflection. So I really invite you and encourage you to write it down. I am here. And we are going to do 3 breaths. If you haven't been here before, how I love to do it is we are going to breathe in and out through the nose. As we breathe in, we are setting an intention to come back to ourselves, to gather the energy, the essence of our being as we breathe in. And we are not forcing the breath, like we are breathing deeply, but allowing the breath to enter us rather than forcing it. We are breathing it, we are holding it in at the top of our head for a few moments, and then as we exhale, we send that energy from top of our head down, at the same time saying, I am here. And the energy is sent down to the pelvis and to the legs and feet. So on the exhale, you wash this energy over all of your body. And then you pause for a moment, observe. I mean, you breathe normally, but pause in this technique. And after a moment, I'll guide you to take another breath in and out. I am here. Little pause in between, little break in between, and then one more breath. Ready? Let's do this. Feel yourself sitting. Close your eyes. Maybe roll your arms up, back, and down, just to open your heart, open your chest, open your body. Relax. Notice how it feels to draw the attention from the outside world into your inner world. How does it feel? How do you feel? You already, as you close your eyes, you are more in tune with yourself, with what's happening internally. Exhale all the air out. Inhale with me. Hold. And as you exhale, send energy down your body, saying, I am here. Observe You may already witness a shift, energy aligning itself in your body. Another inhale. Hold. And I am here on the exhale as you guide your energy down to your pelvis, your legs and feet. Feel, be aware. Notice your presence. And one more inhale. Hold. And on the exhale, say to yourself, I am here, as you send the energy down through your body into your hips, your pelvis, your legs and feet. Notice your presence being grounded here in this moment. Your awareness being in your body, in this room, in this space, in this time, and in this transmission. From hiding to being me. Notice yourself being here. How does it feel to be here fully? Notice the difference between the beginning of the session and now. And as you observe, we are speaking about the mind today, revealing the mind. I invite you to notice your thoughts for a moment. There may be a lot of thoughts and chaos in your mind, and you may find thoughts on top of one another and difficult for you to observe it, or you may feel quiet, still, spacious, and a thought, and then another, and another. Simply pay attention to what is happening. The mind, content of your mind. Without judging your thoughts, simply observe as if they were neutral, they had no meaning, without judging that it is good thought or bad thought, or you should engage in that thought and that thought you should reject. Just let them come and let them go. Like clouds on the sky, right? There is no better cloud than the other. They just flow and change, and there is space in between. And now ask yourself, who is aware of my thoughts? That is not the thoughts. Who is noticing the thoughts? And it's not those thoughts. Who is the I that is aware of it? And again, if your mind wants to find an answer, allow the energy to go back to the body and feel, experience the I am presence that is aware of the content of the mind. And if you are aware of those thoughts, then you cannot be them. The same what we did yesterday, you are aware of your emotions, you are not your emotions. You are aware of your body. We did it 2 days ago, but you are not your body. Body keeps changing, emotions keeps changing, thoughts keep changing. And there is this presence that is always here, always aware. And with this beautiful, spacious awareness, take a deep inhale. Let it out. Open your eyes, keeping this presence within you, not identifying with the content of your mind. When I started my spiritual journey, very early on, I've heard this sentence: you are not your thoughts. And when I heard it the first time, I got shaken and something moved in my body. And suddenly I was like, wow, all these years I've been identifying with the thoughts that I hear, and suddenly someone says I am not my thoughts, and it feels true. Like, it feels that he's right. And this gave me enormous freedom, although it's not that easy, and it hasn't been easy to always remember it and to cultivate it. Some people get like this, suddenly they detached from the thoughts and they don't identify with them anymore. They are anchored in the presence that sees them. For me, it's been a journey, and layer by layer, unsticking those thoughts. And as we spoke about onion yesterday and peeling off the layers, thoughts have similar. We can give this analogy, similar analogy to thoughts, because for me, when we make a belief about, when we keep repeating the thoughts over and over, or we keep hearing, we make it mean something. When we make it mean something, it becomes our beliefs. We give it emotional charge, and it stays in our body. And until we notice that, we allow the emotional charge to be activated and defrost and integrated or alchemized into more of consciousness, then we are always stuck in those layers, in that onion. And as we start to go through the unraveling process, we become free. We start to emerge more of who we are, and we become freedom itself. And I see this also like a flower. If there is a flower with a lot of petals, and I only identify with few petals and the rest I reject, I don't want to see them at all, then I cannot be in my full beauty, right? I cannot say that I've emerged because I'm rejecting big part of myself. But only when we go into those unconscious aspects to ourselves and realize, yeah, this is also who I am, then we start to regain our freedom, emerge, and become authentic, and allow the authenticity to vibrate from us like a scent of a flower. It's that simple. We think it's complicated, and our mind complicates it, and my mind has been complicating this for so long. But the moment I tune into this and allow myself to be myself, suddenly everything becomes easy, so easy. And today I wanted to share with you my story. But first, let me just say that we often have so much in our mind that we are whether confused of who we are, because there is so much to notice and we cannot notice because we don't give ourselves this space to notice the content of our consciousness. For me, the biggest tool, the greatest tool that I've had throughout my journey is meditation and movement. Yoga, mostly yoga and dance, has been my savior. And because whether we have so much content that we don't want to deal with, we like it's too much, it feels overwhelming, or we have certain thoughts and topics in our mind that we feel ashamed about, we feel even ashamed to admit to ourselves, or we are scared of the thoughts because they are so, sometimes they are very dark, and we are scared that this may be us and we want to reject it. And before I share with you my recent story, I'm going to share with you something from childhood that just came, and it's quite relevant for this. So when I was little, I've had so many dark thoughts, but one of the examples I remember very clearly is that my mom gave me some money to go to the shop and gave me a shopping list to buy something. I'm not sure how old I was, maybe around 10 or some, maybe 10, 11, 12. I'm not sure, but I was young. And I went to the shop, and outside the shop, there was a lady standing with fresh, beautiful, delicious strawberries. And they were so delicious. They looked juicy, and I wanted them, but I knew, firstly, we didn't have that much money. My mom gave me list, and it probably would not be enough for strawberries. And even if I got something that my mom didn't tell me to buy, probably I would be like, she would be upset and I would get punished. So I couldn't do that. And suddenly a thought came in my head, maybe I can steal them. Maybe I can steal the strawberries. This way I can enjoy them. And as soon as I had that thought, straight away there was feeling of guilt in my body. And this voice, firstly, I wanted to do everything right all my life. So there was this conscience, I think it's called, that like deep down, I knew that he was wrong. to do it. And then I was judging myself and shaming myself for having that thought. So I went shopping, I bought what my mom told me to, I came back home, I gave her the shopping, I gave her the money back. And then I was beating myself up inside, and I was punishing myself, and I was criticizing myself. And then I started saying to myself, what if I'm really a bad person? What if I'm not that good as I think I am? What if I'm a thief? What if being a thief is in my, I don't know, DNA? What if it's in my fate? And this this was so disturbing, but I started making myself believe that maybe I am not good. Maybe I am a thief. What if I'm a thief? I don't want to be a thief. And I was crying, and I was so fearful of myself, fearful of my thoughts. And this is just one story, right? I've had many stories like that where I would have a thought, then feel embarrassed for that thought, and then judge myself for having that thought, and then feel fear of myself, and I didn't want to be myself because I thought I am my thoughts. Therefore, I was fighting with myself internally almost every day. And I know I'm not the only one. And I'm sharing this because maybe you have similar story. Maybe you forgot, and my share may activate the memories within you. And I invite you to observe this with compassion for yourself, and compassion for that little girl or boy that you were, or maybe even adult you. Maybe it's happening right now. Maybe you are believing your stories, the stories that your mind tells you, and then you judge yourself for that. Can let's stop for a moment here. Close your eyes and maybe put your hand on your heart and acknowledge that version of you, whether it's past or present. And can you come back to that witness, that present moment awareness that we've cultivated at the beginning? And can you notice that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, but at the same time, not reject that part of you, not pretend it's not there. Just allow yourself to witness. I see you. And feel compassion for yourself. And this is one of the reasons we are hiding, because we are scared of our own selves. But we think that our own self is something else. We wrongly identify ourselves with our patterns, our beliefs, our thoughts. And then we block the flow of life through which the self can emerge. And we become something that we think we should be. I invite you to keep breathing. And if you need a little bit more time, just as I speak, keep breathing gently and slowly, regulating your nervous system. You may want to keep your hand on your heart, maybe even massaging it and being with yourself. And I will show you another story, very recent. And if you feel like you need some more time with this with this pattern, please pause the video or come back to it at the end of this transmission, and give yourself the space and time to really connect until it stops being emotionally charged, because when it's emotionally charged, it runs your life, and we want to go beyond that. So few no well, few months ago, but it was last year, almost a year ago, I think, maybe nine months ago, I started going to the gym. And very early on, as I was going to the gym, I've had these visions of meditating at the gym. And I know it my like for me it sounded funny when I had this vision of myself sitting at the gym in the middle of nowhere and just meditating. And I was like laughing to myself and saying that this vision is silly, and I just dismissed it. Little did I know it was my inner desire, but I'll come back to that in a moment. And this kept happening and once in a while, and I just laughed it off and didn't allow myself to even acknowledge that this is a vision or a desire, and didn't allow myself to feel, to notice how it feels in my body. And yeah, after a few times, I nothing was happening until one day I saw something very unusual at my gym. There was someone meditating. And I have to tell you, this guy, he was doing yoga practice. And after his yoga practice was meditating. And when I first saw it, I did not even think that he was meditating. My brain was like, he's just sitting there. And I think at that point I finished my practice and I left. So I didn't know how long he stayed there. But for me, it was like obvious that he finished yoga and he's just chilling. And but then I saw him again doing yoga and then sitting, but the sitting wasn't for like 1 minute or 2 minutes. It was for longer, probably. Like after a few minutes, I was like, it's not possible that he's sitting still in meditative position and just chilling. And suddenly it came to me, he is meditating. And I had this, it felt like a light bulb moment, or like lightning struck my body. I was doing yoga at that time, but I remember hearing this voice within me saying something like, wow, like people do that. It was my vision to meditate at the gym, but I was so dismissive and I did not want to allow myself to realize, because I will tell you what I was in a moment. I was like, people do that, wow. But I did not, it gave me a permission to do my yoga practice at the gym, because in the past, I've been doing yoga for many years at home. And when I started going gym, it was whether yoga at home or gym. And I was doing a little bit of yoga at the gym, but I didn't feel that it was sacred. It was just like in between, and it wasn't really fulfilling and satisfying for me. But when I saw him, it gave me some kind of permission, like I needed permission, right? To bring my yoga practice to the gym and see it as sacred, and realize that sacredness is not decided by sacred place like my living room, but like I am sacred and life is sacred, and I can bring my sacredness and give meaning to any space to be sacred. So that was a big breakthrough for me. And I started doing yoga, and I had this voice in my head constantly. I'm not gonna meditate after my yoga because I meditate at home. I meditate in the morning, so it's fine. And it was many times I was like, but I meditate at home, but I meditate at home. It was just like excuses. And I realized that I was in the past, I used to meditate first, then do yoga, then I switched it, did yoga and meditate. And I realized meditation is so much better after movement, after yoga, because yoga is a doorway to meditation, to sitting still. And I knew this worked for me for so many years. Yet when I joined gym, I was meditating before going to the gym, and then going to the gym, doing yoga, and not wanting to meditate. But it wasn't because I didn't want to meditate. I wanted to meditate, but I didn't want to. Firstly, I was already out of my comfort zone doing my sacred practice outside in front of people, being seen, not during a class, but during, like, in a on a mat, just where people stretch and exercise. I was doing yoga. And what was happening in my head, it was like, okay, again, I'm gonna just reverse slightly. I went for a holiday. I went away, so I didn't go to the gym for 2 weeks. And as I was there, I was like, the desire started to awaken within me, and it was unmistakable, and I could not reject it anymore. It wasn't just a vision that I could laugh it off. It was like really burning desire to experience myself meditating at the gym. And I was like, okay, when I get back, I'm going to start meditating. But every time I wanted to do it, the thoughts that were coming through, he will think I'm copying him. Other people will think I'm copying him because he's the only one meditating, and I'm just being a copy, and I'm not unique, and I'm not authentic. And I feel shame, and I should not be doing that. This is not right. Like, all those stories were coming up in my head, but I was like, what do I want? Who is the one that is talking, and what do I want? The true me. And I felt straight away I want to meditate at the gym. So I was like, okay. And I sat down, and first it was like a few minutes and just getting used to the thoughts. And I observed so much content and so much self-judgment. It's like, okay, people will judge you. I hope they will not see me. And I was a little bit hiding, and I hope he will not see me because it's not fair and I'm not being authentic. And I was like, so should I follow what everybody else is doing? It doesn't feel true to me. Then if I do what one person is doing, then I'm copying them. But if I'm doing what everyone else is doing, I'm not copying them. Like, I was trying for my mind to kind of settle into the truth that I'm not copying anybody. What do I want? I want to meditate. And then I was like, wow, I felt inspired by him. And this is how I really integrated this in my body, that it was not copying anybody, it was an inspiration. And can I allow myself to be myself and do what I want to do, connect to my desire, connect to my vision that I've had months earlier, before I even saw that anybody could meditate at the gym, and allowed myself to witness the content of my mind, stay true to myself. And this was super initiatory process for me, because once again I realized that there is that I can connect to, that wants something, that needs something, that has desires, and there is the mind talking and taking me on both journeys. Because, so this is another thing, a lot of times the mind was telling me, don't meditate, you shouldn't do it, it's copying, blah blah blah, like all those thoughts. But sometimes there was even voice, come on, meditate more, like, be seen, make sure that someone notices you, like, And this, every time I see this, because when the mind, there is you and the mind tells you something and you don't engage with it, the mind tries other tricks and try to present you another side of the story. But now I'm aware of that voice and I'm aware of what's happening, and I'm able to distinct between my truth and what the mind is telling me to do. And I can witness it and be with it and feel the emotions. There was so much shame and fear of being judged, and fear of not belonging, fear of rejection. I felt like I already melted myself into the space of the gym and became, it felt like I belonged there, and suddenly I have to show the side of me that was reserved for other places and meditate and show to everybody that I'm different, and do it in a way not that I'm showing off and following my ego, doing in a way that I'm not hiding, following the ego, but to be really connected to my truth and do a yoga practice and then meditate and know that people around us can inspire us and can guide us towards what we want, because I needed that little push. If I did not see him meditating, I probably would have never acknowledged my desire to meditate. Maybe it would come through different way, but it was like the fastest way to push me. It was like, wow, this feels true, this feels authentic, this feels good, this is what I want. And I'm sharing with you this because often when we have content of the mind and all those fights and stories and all these different things that are going on, we are even ashamed and embarrassed to talk about it. But guess what? You are not the only one who has it. I have it. Most people around you have it. A lot of people don't know that they have it. They're not even aware of many things that happening in their consciousness unless they become more still, or we bring them awareness into the space. And can we notice that we feel ashamed or we feel scared only when we identify with it? If we know that we are not it, suddenly the shame disappears, because it's like, this is not me, this is a pattern that was in my consciousness, but now I can see it, and like I can let it go. I don't need to identify with it anymore. I'm done. It's easy. And I just love this process, and I love how it is transforming my life, and I'm still learning on this journey and emerging myself more and more with each day, with each contemplation, with each recognition of something. And I now guide people through emergence, through coming out of hiding. So if you feel like you would like some guidance, someone to accompany you, if you feel like, because we often hide because we can't see ourselves, and we feel like no one will see us anyway. But I see you because I've been there, and if I see you, for you it will be much easier to see yourself. And when we focus on that, when we really anchor in you, the true essence of your being, the authentic you that has been hiding so far, if we can send the energy there, send our awareness, our focus, our intention there, and allow that you to start emerging, to start noticing those different layers and masks that you have put, you will start to feel so much more freedom, so much more lightness, so much more truth, and you're just gonna be yourself. So yes, I invite you to this process if you feel called. The journey is 10 weeks journey, one-on-one. It's called Emerge, and you can find the link underneath this video. And I invite you to really focus awareness, focus detaching yourself from your thoughts, from the patterns that run your life, and just be in the witness state, be with yourself compassionately, and allow yourself to emerge. Whether you join me in this journey or not, this is your journey, and I have no doubt that you will eventually emerge. It's just having someone sometimes can make the process much faster, but it's not to say that you can't do it on your own. I've done it on my own, and I believe in you too. I feel like this is complete for today. I invite you to join me tomorrow for emerging the I, and bringing everything into more fullness. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.